Hi all, welcome back to my channel, and day 6 of the manhunt for escaped murderer Danelo Cavalcante. Police provided a new update, saying that Cavalcante was spotted on a trail cam at Longwood Gardens in Pennsylvania, which is an area south of the perimeter they were searching in last night. This sighting prompted police to move their search area south and to expand it wider. It also prompted school closings in Chester County as an extra precaution to keep the children safe. I will play a news clip for you about the sighting in case you don't have time to watch the entire press conference, and then I'll play the press conference, the new one for you, that police held this morning, September 5th, with the new information. It's day 6 of this manhunt. Let's pray they capture him soon. Take care, stay safe, and thank you once again for watching.
As you know, on the morning of Thursday, August 31st, inmate Danelo Cavalcante escaped from the Chester County Prison. Since the day of the escape, there have been several credible sightings within an area I described to you yesterday within Pocopson Township. We had one additional sighting of Cavalcante last evening within that perimeter and conducted a multiple hours-long search of the area, but were unable to locate him. Early this morning, we were notified by security at Longwood Gardens that they had trail camera photos taken on their property which appear to be Cavalcante. This area is just south of the perimeter. Investigators quickly examined those photos and we can confirm it is Cavalcante. The photos confirm that Cavalcante has not changed his appearance, but also that he has obtained a backpack, a duffel sling type pack, and a hooded sweatshirt. Cavalcante is depicted in the photo walking north at 8:21 p.m. and then back south through the same location at 9:33 p.m. Working with the District Attorney's Office, several steps were quickly taken, including shifting our perimeter in an attempt to contain him between the southern end of the established perimeter and an area south of Route 1. A reverse 911 call was sent out to the residents within a 1.5-mile area of the camera that was located, and that occurred at 5:27 a.m. This was expanded to 3 miles at around 7 a.m. We had already requested and begun to mobilize resources from additional federal agencies last evening to include the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. People and equipment from those agencies is being mobilized and added to the search as we speak. We continue to ask for the public's help by familiarizing themselves with the photograph and the description of Cavalcante. We're also asking people in an expanded area from the Pocopson Township area south to be alert and to call us with anything suspicious. We ask them to please secure homes, outbuildings, and vehicles. A duffel sling type pack and a hooded sweatshirt. Cavalcante is depicted in the photo walking north at 8:21 p.m. and then back south through the same location at 9:33 p.m. with the superintendents of a number of area school districts. We had assured them that if anything changed, we would promptly notify them. As promised, that notification occurred at approximately 5 a.m., resulting in a decision by the Unionville, Chadds Ford, and Kennett Consolidated School Districts to cancel classes for the day. We will continue to work with those districts to determine what will occur in coming days. A reverse 911 call was sent out to the residents within a 1.5-mile area of the camera that was located, and that occurred at 5:27 a.m. This was expanded to 3 miles at around 7 a.m. We had already requested and begun to mobilize resources from additional federal agencies last evening to include the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. People and equipment from those agencies is being mobilized and added to the search as we speak. We continue to ask for the public's help by familiarizing themselves with the photograph and the description of Cavalcante. We are also asking people in an expanded area from the Pocopson Township area south to be alert and to call us with anything suspicious. We ask them to please secure homes, outbuildings, and vehicles. Cavalcante has clearly already obtained some clothing and unknown other supplies, and we want to minimize any opportunity to obtain anything more. It is important we keep pressure on him as we continue this hunt. We are also asking residents and businesses anywhere in or near this area to check their home and business security cameras and call us with anything suspicious that they might observe. A tip line has been established, and we can be reached at 717-562-2987. That was 717-562-2987. We remind everyone that a reward totaling up to $10,000 has been offered for information leading to the capture of Danelo Cavalcante. What I would also ask is that people consider signing up for the alerts here in Chester County, and it's they can sign up at readychesco.org, readychesco.org. And with that, we will be happy to take any questions that you might have at this time.
So do you ever use
Oh,
ladies?
and I'm sorry, just 1 second. If we could display the photos here. I can start with the question why he's getting those photos up.
Do you believe that he is now actually out of that 2-mile radius that you were initially looking at yesterday?
Yes, we believe he is just south of that radius, and that's why, again, we've shifted that perimeter now to include that area. What I can tell you is I think that what's occurred is that pressure that we've been putting on him is working. We squeezed him hard enough over a period of a few days, and he was not able to get any relief and managed to find a place to get out. Obviously, I wish we would have been able to capture him without him getting through that perimeter, but it is also not shocking. It's dark, it's a large area, and not to make excuses. I mean, it's just difficult terrain and things.
Is this area more remote or is it more open?
No, actually, I think this is a little more open. I'm encouraged by the fact that he's there. The other thing I'm encouraged by is that we realized within just a few hours where he was, and so he's not had a tremendous amount of time to move a long distance. And so again, it gives us another opportunity to now try and squeeze him within that perimeter.
Do you think he walked across Baltimore Pike? How do you think, I mean, are you looking at the possibility that he crossed that busy?
Oh, we're certainly looking into that possibility. Again, where he was spotted, he was not across Baltimore Pike there, but obviously we consider anything, and the perimeter has expanded south of Route 1 as well.
Is this trail camera monitored either by law enforcement or by Longwood 24/7?
No, it was a private camera, and an individual checked it and notified us promptly.
It's
Do you know how he got
not a Longwood Gardens camera?
It's my understanding that they allow some others to put cameras on their property, and that individual provided the information.
Any idea how he got the supplies? Were these a result of burglaries?
I can't confirm at this point where he got those supplies. Again, obviously, picked them up somewhere along the way, so obviously he got into a structure, a car, something, and obtained some clothing. In fact, we have the pictures up here now. You can see from this picture, he's got a sling-type duffel bag. You can also see shoulder straps in another photo here that you'll see in just a minute. He's got a backpack on his back as well. So he's got 2 packs. He also, in another picture you'll see, he's obtained a hooded sweatshirt. If we can. And so what I would tell you is that, I mentioned that there were 2 different times. So what we believe happened is he walked into that area, was likely not well oriented, headed north, probably ran into the perimeter, realized he couldn't go that way, and turned the opposite direction and came back through the camera a second time. So this is when, with the pack on and the hoodie, he's headed north actually here, and then about roughly an hour later is coming back south without the hoodie on.
That photo is from when? 9:30?
So it's, let me get the time here. It was, the time is an hour off. That's depicted on the camera. I'm sorry, give me just a minute to find my times here.
It's 9:30 and 10:30.
I'll get that for you here in just a minute. But it was about an hour apart. It was roughly 8:20 and 9:30.
We've heard 10:30 for the shirt off.
I understand that. Again, the time stamp on the photo should be the time stamp is an hour off. It's actually 9:30, and
The other one's 8:30.
and the other one was 8:30 or thereabouts. 9:33 is the one. 8:21 was the first one. So he's headed north at 8:21. It says 9:21, and then he's headed south at 9:33.
So widening the perimeter or moving it south? How would you describe
We're expanding the perimeter, but we're also eliminating the northern end of that perimeter. So the community that was surrounded by that won't be surrounded by it now. So if you went to the southern end of what we had established previously as a perimeter and go south from there, down and across Baltimore Pike, that would be the current area.
Is this making a mistake then, or is this just another successful attempt of him evading authorities at this point?
Oh, I think he's absolutely succumbing to the pressure, and yes, he's trying to escape, and that's what he managed to do. He found a point that he could squeeze through that perimeter, and he traveled south. We'll now expand that perimeter and move it so that we can try and encapsulate him again, and we're already actively searching those areas.
It's been 6 days. I mean, do we know anything more about his background? Does he have any survival skills? I mean, he's been foraging, clearly he's been stealing stuff. What can you tell the public? I mean, this guy's clearly cunning, and he's been able to evade you guys for 6 days now.
We're not aware of any formal training in terms of survival skills. You're dealing with someone who's desperate and who doesn't want to be caught. And so if he can find something, some clothing, if he can find some shelter, if he can find some food, he is going to take advantage of whatever he finds. And that's why, again, we pressure him to not allow him the luxury of rest. And then we're asking the public to help us by making sure things are secure so that we can minimize his opportunities to obtain those things that he doesn't otherwise have. He doesn't have, to our knowledge, he doesn't have caches out there or any supplies that he can go to and obtain, as we've seen in some other searches we've done. That's not the case here. I believe this was just an opportunity that he took to get out of the jail, and once out, he's now winging it, and so he does what he has to do to try and avoid escape, or try and avoid capture. Rather.
From his mother to convince him to turn himself back in?
We have not since yesterday, and we'll have to evaluate whether we think that will be effective going forward.
Longwood Gardens is closed today. Are you going to be searching Longwood Gardens?
Longwood Gardens is closed, and we will be in that area. Not only Longwood Gardens, but the entire area, we will be pushing through.
He could walk to Delaware today if he was able to walk that far. Are you coordinating with officials in Delaware?
We are.
Police? And does that change anything if he crosses the state line?
It really doesn't. There's a federal warrant that the marshals have obtained for him. That's again, it's federal warrant, so it covers us regardless of where he goes.
You would still be
At this point, I don't believe he has made it to Delaware. I believe he's still well into Pennsylvania, and we're going to act on that and continue to pressure him. But at the same time, we always look at options. Even while we were looking at that perimeter, as I said to you yesterday, we follow up on any tip. We don't discount anything, and certainly that's why in this case it was a really solid tip. But we've had lots of others. We follow up on those as well, and on the chance that he has managed to get out of that area. And certainly, even prior to this, we had already been coordinating with Delaware.
What's the latest on the investigation into how he was actually able to get out of prison? Is there any clarity on what happened?
My understanding is there's not going to be anything released on that right away. I think the investigation is still ongoing. I can tell you that there have been many interviews done, and both in an effort to investigate the escape, but also to assist us in looking at any plans, any contacts he may have had on the outside, that kind of thing. So that all factors into it, and unless the district attorney has something else to add, I would just say that we're not in a position to start releasing anything on that
What's
yet
the
today.
situation at the prison now? Are the inmates still on lockdown? Are there transports going in and out of there?
I can't answer that.
With the search, you all have been saying that it's a heavily wooded area. Can you describe to the public what that means, what you're going through the terrain? Because some people are saying, oh, why haven't you caught him yet? It's been 6 days. Where are the dogs? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Can you describe what it's like out there?
What I would describe to you, again, you've heard me refer to other searches. I mean, the terrain here, while one would think, okay, we're not in the middle of a national forest or something else, what you have, though, are significant parcels of wooded area with a lot of undergrowth, so thick that our searchers can't be more than a couple of yards apart, or they at times lose sight of one another. It's so thick that they have to hack their way through or go around and try and make sure that they've still covered that area because they just, you can't walk through it. That's certainly not everywhere, but there are large patches of that kind of undergrowth in the woods. You know, additionally, one of the challenges that you have here that you don't have out in a larger forest is you've got people with large yards, parcels of land, multiple acres with outbuildings and shrubbery, landscaping, all kinds of things, sheds that that afford an opportunity to hide. Again, none of it insurmountable, but it makes for additional challenges when you're searching those areas. There are a lot of places that someone can hide, and again, you would think, you know, we're in a closer to an urban area here, there wouldn't be all of these forests. There are, and
What's
so-
the long-term game plan here? I mean, it's been 6 days. If this goes into a 7th, 8th, goes into next week or a month, I mean, are you going to start scaling down resources or just keep throwing?
The long-term game plan is, as long as we believe we're being effective, and I do believe, we will continue with this search. We will continue a hard search, and we'll capture them. We've had searches that have gone well in excess of a month. We've kept the pressure on. He's a bad guy. He needs to be in custody, and we're determined to capture him. So as long as we have the ability to identify areas that are suitable for us to be searching, we will continue to do that. And again, I'm confident that in the long run, he will be captured.
You mentioned the hooded sweatshirt. What's the current description? Do you have a clothing description or any?
I don't have a color or anything on that sweatshirt yet at this point. We're still analyzing some things. One of the challenges is with a picture like this, it's night vision or infrared, and so colors don't translate easily. We're having some people take a look at it and see if we can make a determination from it, but I don't have a color or anything to provide you at this point.
How did it come about that state police started leading the investigation, and moving forward, could that potentially change if this goes on longer?
Well, as I said, that was a decision that was made in conjunction with the district attorney's office. We looked at where that search area had expanded to, the types of resources and things that needed to be brought in, and so we've done these, and it seemed to be a natural progression. And again, nothing changed in terms of our working relationship. We've worked well with the DA's office. That continues. They're an integral part of this investigation, and I anticipate that state police will continue in the lead. Again, we'll have to assess that, but we've got our federal partners in here as well, and we're already coordinating with adjacent states. So, I think we're doing everything we can to ensure that we contain him as best we can until we capture him, and to have a contingency in place should he squeeze through again.
Did you guys do a push inward yesterday from the perimeter? Is that a
Yes.
technique to kind of push inward?
There was a push that was done because of an additional sighting. We were pushing through there anyway in different parts of the perimeter, but there was specifically a push that was done in response to a sighting from within the perimeter, and that continued on for several hours last evening and well into the evening.
Walk, just everyone's moving towards the center to close the perimeter to make it smaller?
No, the perimeter stays intact, and we move additional people inside there, typically tactical team members, and we utilize them to push through and push toward the perimeter.
Just to clarify, so the FBI and Customs have just now joined, or have they been part of this to begin with? And to clarify, are all schools in the area closed then?
The FBI and Customs have been part of this from the standpoint that we have been working with them on some analysis and planning some other resources. They are sending some tactical teams and some equipment to join the search effective today. And I'm sorry, the other question was about the schools?
Yeah, are they all closed or just?
No, those two districts that I
just the two
mentioned.
districts? Okay.
What's the number of personnel on the ground?
I couldn't give you a firm count. I would have to estimate
200?
200 or 250. It may be a little higher. And keep in mind, that's at any point in time. This is a 24-hour operation, so we're cycling people in and out.
Do you have any idea how many calls, how many tips you all have received? Is it in the hundreds, dozens?
Probably somewhere in excess of 100.
You mentioned the new search area is a little bit more open than remote and previous. Does this change any search methods going forward?
It doesn't change the methods. It changes the effectiveness of some of the technology. Some of it obviously is we're better served by it in some of the more open areas, but it really doesn't change the fact that our path forward here is to keep pressure on him and to search those areas, whether using technology, whether physically searching it, sweeping through. Even in the more open areas, you still have, again, a lot of places to hide. Homes, businesses, outbuildings, and on, that all present an opportunity for him and a challenge for us. But again, I'm confident that he will slip up. He did here. He walked into a trail cam, didn't know it. He'll slip up. We're making him move, and that's a good thing.
So you said one additional sighting yesterday. Does that mean it's 5 credible sightings now?
Yes, plus the trail cam.
Okay.
So the 5th would have been within the perimeter, and then now the trail cam just to the south of that old perimeter. Excuse me.
What do you say to the community now with these credible sightings? People out there, posting on social media, they're afraid. What do you say to them to make them feel reassured in your efforts to find him?
I do understand and empathize with their concern. As a parent, I would be concerned for my children's safety, grandchildren's safety as well. So I understand that. What I would tell them is, again, we're asking them to be alert, to just take, I don't know that there's such a thing as ordinary precautions, but use some common sense. We're not trying to lock people down. At the same time, they should use some caution. They should be observant as to what's going on around their home and their yard, that kind of thing. As I've mentioned, we're asking them to lock their vehicles. If they don't ordinarily do that, or ordinarily they would run in for a few minutes into the house and not lock their car, please lock the car. And pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to your neighbors. Anything that's unusual there, in the event they're not home, perhaps we can get a call and end this quicker. But really, it's vigilance that we're looking for from people right now. He's clearly in escape mode, but he's desperate. So his history is that he's a dangerous individual, and I know that sounds contradictory. Well, he's dangerous, and I'm not saying locked down. If we identify that he's in a very specific area, my recommendation then would be stay in your homes. And we will message the people if we truly have him locked down into a very small area. Much like we used reverse 911 this morning, we have the ability to do that. We can use the Chesco alerts. We'll get word to people if we need them to take more decisive action. For right now, again, being alert and talking to us. Check your security cameras. Provide us any information that you think might be helpful.
So the people in Kennett Square around Longwood Gardens, they're still encouraged, like you said, to remain vigilant but not to lock down?
Correct. I would be, if I were staying home and my home was in there, even while I was in the house, I would have my doors locked. But I wouldn't feel like I was a prisoner in my home. If I need to go to the store, I'm going to go out, get in my car, and go to the store. That's what I mean, I guess, when I say take some precautions, but at the same time, we're not asking people to stay as prisoners in their own homes.
Just really quickly, I know that initially there was concerns that he had some contacts with family in the Phoenixville area. They've been consulted, and is there any dialogue there? Any chance he's been in contact with any of those?
At this point, any interviews or anything else that we would have done will remain confidential at this point. I wouldn't want to disclose. But rest assured that any family, friends, associates, contacts even from jail, we have run all of those things out, and we continue to run those out, looking for anything that might be helpful. Okay. All right. I believe we'll be sending these photos out. We'll make them available to you electronically if you would like those. And I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your assistance getting this word out to the public.